DreAllDay.com.
Before we start, please like and comment on this video so I can get your feedback. Also, click that subscribe button so you can get all the new content I'm dropping on this channel. And the free book, the mental handbook, physical book, Work on Your Game University, just take care of the shipping and handling, send this right to your doorstep. Let's get started. What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin with DreAllDay.com. We are back. NBA 2017 season previews. We are now on. We in Florida now. The Orlando Magic. Let's take a look at the Orlando Magic. See what they got going on. See what they did in the offseason. We know last year that they won about 35 games. They were a bad team, but a respectable bad team. That's what I call that, respectably bad. The team that wins 35 games. So they weren't terrible. 35 and 47. They weren't terrible, but they weren't good either. I'm not giving you, you're not getting the title of good by winning 35 games in the season. But they did make a very good move. They hired Frank Vogel as their coach. Frank Vogel is a solid coach. Frank Vogel overachieved with the Indiana Pacers unit that he had over the last 4 or 5 years that he's been coaching the Pacers. He had the Pacers right there on the brink of making the NBA Finals if it hadn't been for the Heat. The super team that the Miami Heat had with LeBron James, I think the Pacers had a chance to maybe have gotten it, but they just couldn't get over the hump of beating the Miami Heat any of those years. But Frank Vogel did a great job coaching. Last season, he did a great job getting that team to where he got them to, and they were right there on the doorstep of eliminating the Toronto Raptors in the first round of the playoffs, but the Pacers couldn't finish that off. I really put that, I'm not putting that on Frank Vogel, I put that on Paul George. Paul George is the best player on that team. I think he was the best player in the series. I think he's better than anybody on the Raptors. He was the best player on the court. They didn't win that series. I put that on Paul George, but this is not the Pacers video, so we'll talk about that later. Frank Vogel is a great pickup as a head coach. Let's look at Frank Vogel's record overall since he's been coaching. He's been coaching in the league 7 years, all with the Pacers. He went from 38 wins, first season he coached 38 games, and he was 20 and 18. Then he won 42, 49, 56, 38. That was the year Paul George missed the whole season, and then 45 games as a coach. Even the year that Paul George missed the whole season, he still coached 38 wins out of that team, which is, again, better than the Magic did last year. 38 wins is 3 games away from 500 without Paul George, without the guy you pay a max contract to. I believe that's a hell of a record. I believe that's commendable. His years with the Pacers, 2012, 2011, 2012, 13, and 14. The Pacers won 6, 11, and 10 playoff games, but those losses, losing to the Miami Heat, I think all 3 times. May have been, I know it was at least 2 times. Might have been all 3 times. But Frank Vogel is a solid coach who can do his thing. So I'm surprised that Larry Bird and them let him go. But again, we'll talk about that in the Indiana video. Let's look at the Orlando Magic roster. Who do they have coming back from last year? They have Evan Fournier, who showed some flashes of being able to put that ball in the basket at the shooting guard position. Aaron Gordon, super athletic power forward, hybrid power forward. He's definitely be playing a 4. He's definitely not a 3-man. He's a 4-man. Who else is coming back to this team? Mario Hezonja, 21 years old, another shooting guard to go there next to Evan Fournier, who's another foreign wing player. Who else is on this roster? Jody Meeks, was he on the team last year? I don't even know, but Jody Meeks is on the team. Elfrid Payton at the point guard position, still only 22 years old, 6'4" point guard. Nikola Vucevic, who had a great season 2 years ago, great breakout year 2 years ago, still solid, still only 25 years old, 7 feet tall. C.J. Watson, 32-year-old point guard. And then we got the additions in Orlando. Orlando made several additions this year. I don't know if DJ Augustine was on the team last year. I'm really not going to talk too much about DJ Augustine. He's a backup point guard. Jeff Green they picked up. Jeff Green's 30 years old, so I guess you could say Jeff Green is in his prime, but Jeff Green, I think through playing he was in OKC, or he was in Seattle actually. Then he came with them to OKC, I believe, or he might have been traded before they went to OKC. Memphis, Boston, the Clippers, now Orlando. I think Jeff Green is Jeff Green. I'm not putting too much stock in the fact that Jeff Green's on the team. If any of you Magic fans or you fans of any of those teams have seen Jeff Green do something other than what I've seen Jeff Green do, then you let me know. If there's a reason to be excited about having Jeff Green on the team, let me know what it is. I don't see one. Serge Ibaka, pick up from the OKC Thunder. Serge Ibaka used to be one of the best defensive players in the league. He was maybe one of the top 5 power forwards in the league, at least in the top 10 power forwards in the league. What happened to Serge Ibaka? It's kind of like he fell off the map, and I don't know why. And Serge Ibaka is only 26. Is that accurate? Serge Ibaka is only 26. I feel like Serge Ibaka has been in the NBA for like 10 years. He's 26. He has been in the league 7 years, so it ain't that long. He's been in the league since he was 19. What happened to Serge Ibaka? He was one of the best in 2011 when OKC went to the finals in 2012. 2012 they went to the NBA finals. Serge Ibaka was averaging 9 points a game, 3.7 blocks per game. That's crazy. He was averaging 3.7 blocks per game in 2012. That's the year they went to the finals and lost to the Miami Heat. The next year, he was averaging 9 points that year. The next year, Serge Ibaka's blocks went from 3.7, he went down to 3.0, but he bumped up his scoring from 9 points to 13 points per game. This is in 2013. 2014, he went up scoring again to 15 points per game. His blocks dropped to 2.7 blocks per game. Next year, he's averaging 14 points. His blocks dropped to 2.4. And this past season, his points dropped to 12.6 and his blocks went down to 1.9. So he went from averaging 3.7 blocks a game to averaging 1.9 blocks per game. Literally half of his block shot production fell off from that peak of 2012. My question is, what the hell happened? How did you go from averaging 3.7 blocks to 1.9 blocks in more minutes? He actually played more minutes last year than he played a significant. He went from 27 minutes a game. This dude was blocking 3.7 shots per game in 27 minutes. You understand? I think he won Defensive Player of the Year that year. You understand what kind of production that is? He was blocking a lot of shots, and he was shooting 53% from the floor, 54% from the floor. Last year he shot 48%. That's probably because he wasn't getting the damn ball. He was shooting more three-pointers. Why is Serge Ibaka shooting three-pointers? I don't know. He's a 33% shooter. He shouldn't be shooting too many three-pointers. His scoring went down. I mean, he got marginalized. It's pretty much what happened. That's the best way to describe it. He got marginalized in OKC. He wasn't getting the ball at all. He wasn't even a factor. He wasn't even someone that they factored into winning. They got Cantor and who was the other big guy they got? I forget the other big guy's name. I'll think of it in a second. But OKC got the two bigs. They put KD as a small ball 4. Then they had Robertson. They had Russell Westbrook. And they would put someone else in there sometimes. Sometimes it would be Serge Ibaka, but Ibaka pretty much was marginalized. He was a ghost on that team. So trading him, I think, was good for Ibaka. This is good for Orlando. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They gave up Vic Oladipo, and we're not really going to talk about Vic Oladipo because he ain't on the team no more. Other pickups, I thought they picked up more people than this. Serge Ibaka is their big pickup, and I guess Jeff Green is their other pickup. But you're a Magic fan. Here's what I got to say about this team. I think this team can make the playoffs, and I'm going to tell you why. I believe they can make the playoffs because your core guys are all very young. I didn't know Serge Ibaka was only 26 years old. Serge Ibaka is 26. Elfrid Payton, who I believe is the future of this team, is 22. Now, Elfrid Payton combined with, here's the future, it's 4 guys. Elfrid Payton is 1. Evan Fournier is 23. He's number 2. Mario is number 3. He's 21. And Aaron Gordon is the other. Aaron Gordon is 20. That's the future of the team. So your future is all 23 and under. The veteran you brought in, Serge Ibaka, he is a 7-year veteran. He's only 26. Jeff Green, not worried about him. DJ Augustine, no. CJ Watson, no. They're veterans. They're good guys to have. Jody Meeks, they're guys who are good to have. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these guys, but they're not the future. All right, when this team gets to where they're going to go, it's not going to be because of them. It's going to be because of these young guys. Now, they also picked up Bismack Biyombo, who was only 24. I didn't know he was only 24. He played great for Toronto in both rounds. Against the Miami Heat, he played great against the Heat, especially after Whiteside went down and Jonas Valanciunas in Toronto went down. Both big guys went down. The Heat didn't have no other big guys. They didn't have any big men to play against Biyombo. So Biyombo just dominated the Heat because the Heat didn't have no big men. And then against Cleveland, Biyombo was pretty good for about 3 or 4 games. He played great. At home, he played great. But then the Cavs decided to, all right, let's get serious. And Biyombo kind of went back to being Bismack Biyombo. He's been in the league long enough that we got an idea who he is. Can he get better? He's only 24. Hell yeah, he can get better. But is Bismack Biyombo is he going to be a huge difference maker on this team? No. And oh yeah, another person who's part of the future of this team, I forgot, is Niko Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic is part of the future of this team. He's only 25, and he's actually the best player out of those four I mentioned, I believe. In terms of production, he's the best so far in what he's actually produced in the games in the NBA. He is the best. So that's the future, those five guys. Bismack Biyombo, Serge Ibaka. Why did they pick both of those guys up when you already got Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic? Like, how is Serge Ibaka? Serge Ibaka got to play. Serge Ibaka ain't no guy to sit on the bench. Serge Ibaka should be playing. But you already got Aaron Gordon, who's the future. He's 20 years old. You got Vucevic, who is the center. He's 25. Why did you trade for Serge Ibaka? You want to trade Vic Oladipo, trade him, but for Serge Ibaka? When you already got Aaron Gordon and you got Nikola Vucevic, unless Aaron Gordon's going to get put at the 3 spot and he can play the 3, I don't see Aaron Gordon as a 3. But again, you're a Magic fan, you watched him more than me. Correct me. Enlighten me that Aaron Gordon can play the small forward spot. Because if he's going to play the small forward, he better be able to hit that 3 at a good 37% and up. I don't see him as that type of guy. I see him as a small ball forward. He's the perfect small ball forward because he's athletic. He can dribble a little bit. He ain't got to dribble all over the place. He's athletic. He can hit an outside jump shot every now and then, but you can't have the floor packed in when you got a 3-man who can't shoot. So can Aaron Gordon make 37% of threes? Can he spot up and hit threes? I don't see him as a spot up shooter. Again, if you know better than I do, let me know. But what the reason I'm even saying that is not to trash Aaron Gordon, but to say, why is Serge Ibaka on the team? And why'd you sign Bismack Biyombo? What is he going to do? Why sign Bismack Biyombo? I just don't see these as great moves by the Orlando Magic front office. But one great move is that they signed Frank Vogel. The reason I say this team's going to make the playoffs is because of Frank Vogel and because all these young guys are a year older playing on the team together. Gordon, Mario, Evan, Elfrid Payton, and Vucevic. That 5. Now, these new guys that they brought in, I don't know how Vogel's going to make that work, but I believe he will because Vogel's a hell of a coach. As far as the veterans that they got, Augustine, C.J. Watson, Jeff Green, I don't like them. I don't like those pickups. They need better veterans. If you got, especially with all these young guys, you need better, more well-traveled and more career successful coming into Orlando veterans to help mentor and mold these guys. Nothing wrong with DJ and CJ and who's the other guy? Jeff Green, but no, you need more grizzled veterans. You need like a Luol Deng type guy, an Elton Brand type guy, somebody like Antoine Jameson. He's not even in the NBA anymore, but that type of veteran. Those are the kind of guys you put on a team like this. And I think Frank Vogel knows that, but it may only be so much Frank Vogel could do. I guess he has what it is he has. So I see this as a playoff team. I think the Orlando Magic get up into that 40-win range. They improve by 5 wins, get into that 40-win range, and they are going to make the playoffs this year. They're going to be a 7th or 8th seed in the playoffs, and they're going to get their ass kicked in the first round of the playoffs, but they will make the playoffs. I don't even see them. I see them winning maybe, if Vogel coaches the hell out of this team, they can win 2 games in the playoffs. Not 2 rounds, 2 games. But even if Vogel coaches the hell out of them, they go up against the wrong team, they might get swept in the first round, especially if it happens to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. And I'm not going to say who that is, but y'all can guess. But I say this team does make the playoffs with this roster, with the youth they have, with the talent that they have, and a great pickup at the head coaching position. Any of you, Magic fans, non-Magic fans, Magic haters, NBA fans, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Questions, comments, praise, criticisms, anything you got to say, leave it in the comments. Don't be crazy. And we will be back tomorrow with the next team in our NBA preview, who is, I looked at it and I forgot who they were. The next team we're going to preview is the team that won 40 games. I can't remember who they were. Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz. Ain't no Jazz in Utah. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Utah Jazz basketball team. See y'all tomorrow. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.